Meeting of the Sherman County Board of Commissioners comes to order, please.
Make a motion to approve the agenda as written.
I second that motion.
Been moved and seconded. We approve the agenda as posted. All in favor say aye.
I
Opposed, same sign. Motion is passed.
make a motion, we approve the minutes from July 14th.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. We approve the minutes for July 14th. All in favor say aye.
I
Opposed, same sign. Motion is passed.
I do make a motion that we change our viewing date that we approved from July 14th to August 29th, right after commission meeting, to do our road viewing upon Brett's request.
A second.
Been moved and seconded. Change of the viewing date to August the 29th. All in favor say aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion is passed.
Make a motion to pay the bills of $307,324.88. So, do you want to add the others on to the fire equipment for
I did.
$49,500?
And the Dan Brenner Ford for $46,950.
Yep.
I have a total of $403,774.88. Is that correct, Ashley?
I don't know, I usually
Yes.
just do them as 3 different ones.
I second the motion. We approve all three.
Been moved and seconded. Approve the bills. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion is passed. Everybody had a chance to review the fire board minutes. They found a truck, but it wasn't quite as
They kind of passed on one, but they upped their bid on the second one, and this is they're gonna take this cabin chassis out of this 2021 5500 that they purchased on Purple Wave, and they're gonna replace the cabin chassis at Brewster, an 06 Ford that's starting to give them some problems.
okay.
So it'll update a truck without purchasing new. They're just gonna move the bed over onto it, resell that cabin chassis. This truck comes with a box, and they're gonna use the box at the training center, is what Mike Cochran told me. So they upped their bid a little bit, and that's one we approved today for $49,500. And because new trucks are now running, $80,000.
Minimum.
And this only has like 15,000 miles, so he talked to where it came from, felt like it was a good purchase. They're also looking at another one, a little older than that, as a prime mover for tech rescue that they're looking to bid on also. So I feel they're making good decisions, so their budget's looking good.
Okay. And they're gonna stay under the NRP.
Yes, they're still revenue neutral, so told them how proud of them we are.
Good.
It looks like they still have plenty of funding for their builds, the 2 new builds that they're finishing up in the next month, so.
And those are both quick attack.
Yeah, one is for Kenneredo and one is for Goodland. Then they'll be selling off some more equipment to put some money back into their fund.
Okay. And we all got the copy of the CPAP funds that we received for $40,000 and goes down to the Smoky Gardens and figure out what we can do with it.
Yes, and I commend Kenny Sanderson for doing that grant. Appreciate him.
Great work there.
Mm-hmm.
Do we have to do a motion and approve this tractor?
Yes.
So I'll make a motion that we approve this, purchase of tractor for the landfill at $55,000.
I second the motion.
Been moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Both same sign. Motion is passed. That had a little heating trouble. Yost took it back and they put all new cooling system in it. So should be ready to go.
I have another thing. I did talk to Brian James. He called me the other day, and the old ambulance that they are gonna be getting rid of since they acquired their new one, it's that 2014 Dodge, I think. And I think it's called Med 5. He was asking my opinion about not putting it on an auction because you're stuck with whatever price that brings. And he felt the local auction wouldn't get them the value they wanted out of it. So him and Chris were looking at possibly reselling it to a dealer. They're getting a couple bids from dealers. And I just told him I felt we trusted his decision on getting the most money.
Well, it's a good idea to look for opportunities to sell it for a little bit more because, you know, some people know that, okay, if it's up for auction and we lowball it, we can get it pretty cheap, and that's still a pretty decent machine. That's a four-wheel drive, I believe. So.
Yeah.
And there'll be dealers out there looking for them all the time.
So I just told him, you know, we trusted, I hope that's okay, I said that we trusted his decision to get the most money for the county for that ambulance.
There you go.
It does have a lot of miles and it does have a lot of wear on the box.
Yeah. And
I was out at the fairgrounds the other day, was talking to Williams. Our big building needs some work. Is that on a historical register by any chance?
I think so.
You don't think
I
so?
don't think it is.
Do you think it should be? It's pretty old.
What I've been told is other like courthouses that get on the historical registry, then it limits you on what you can do to that building because it's considered historical. So I think,
if you just take care of it and don't put it on the historical, because, you know, like the round top is unique, and if you start changing the structure of that or anything, then you start having troubles with, you know, oh, you can't do that because of the historical value of it. And
Technically, you can't even draw a hole in it.
I was just thinking if it was, we'd be able to qualify for some grants to maybe fix it up. It needs some paint, it needs windows, you know, that are boarded up and stuff like that. I think we need to look at it, and try to clean it up a little bit, make it look a little nicer. That's the only reason I thought if it was on a historical.
William
history,
did say it is on his agenda to do some painting on it, but with all the other projects, he hasn't been able to get to it. But I'm with Harvey. You know, with some of the windows, it looks a little in disrepair.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're painted over, and then you break one and it doesn't get repainted.
Put a board on it.
Yeah. And it might be something that we need to put some money towards once we're done with the courthouse plumbing project too.
because that's been out there since 1926.
Yeah.
Some of the stuff on the side you can see flaked off pretty bad.
Yeah.
Too.
Some of that was painted in the late 70s, early 80s, and that's probably the last time I've seen a coat of paint that I know of. So, we got some mail. This one is from Waste Management, Livestock Waste Management. They're just periodicals. There's one feedlot in Sherman County that they say they're gonna check, make sure everything is up to par. Second livestock waste management letter. Again, these are water pollution control permits. Again, a list of different, all over the state.
Is that new permits, like
It's,
for new well drilling? Or?
no, it's just, the annual permit of, you know, you get one for every 5 or 7 years or something like that, and then they just, you know, have to, get another permit that they've been, you know, they come out and inspect.
Right.
Like when I had my, hog facility, they would come out every 5 years and inspect the lagoons, make sure you
Okay.
had, you know, proper drainage
And that's just a notice of
notice of
inspections
permits.
or permits, okay?
Yes, that's what both of those are for. This is Historical Society, and I think this is just the annual. Summer of 2025, the different things going on with the Historical Society. This is Milco. This is the measurements on and that of the landfill to make sure that what you do is look at the front page and underground water treatment monitoring, the old Sherman County landfill.
That include the one out south, Steve, the new one?
No, this
This
is
is
Just
the
that
old one by
notice.
the gun club.
yeah. Okay. Consistent with historical sampling. No questions on that one. New Sherman County landfill. Consistent with historical sampling, reflect that the actual condition of landfill water quality is okay. So,
I do have one more thing too, is August the 23rd at 7 p.m. There'll be an award recognition for emergency service workers for the dust event in March.
okay,
That's at the high school auditorium.
at the high school auditorium.
Uh-huh.
And what time again?
7 p.m.,
7
August
p.m.
23rd. They would like the commissioners to be there. They did invite some state representatives. And this was brought up at the fire board meeting and also at the LEPC meeting the other day, so.
Okay. Give some people some recognition that,
Yeah. You know, we've stated it before, we're very proud of our
yes.
people of Sherman County, how well everybody reacted to that.
Michael Dorn will not be here.
Okay,
He stated that he doesn't have everything that he needs. So he doesn't want to waste your time.
Okay,
you talked to me and trying to maybe put an event together for flatlanders with monster trucks.
Oh.
And, since there's no
since there's no races.
races this year.
Yeah.
So they're trying to put something together to have activities out there for the evening.
Have you ever heard any more on our mud racing event in
That's-
September? We're still on, aren't we?
Yeah,
Okay.
he's come in and paid his,
Okay,
He's paid, we've received the insurance, we're
okay,
It-
good to go.
it's-
good.
when is that again, September?
That is, I had that written down on
13th? That sound
the
right?
middle of September.
13th.
September 13th.
September 13th.
Yeah, because he's been in contact with Rod to dig the pit.
Okay.
So. I had a gentleman talk to me about the fairgrounds where we have the parking for campers. And he is working on, get some information to see if we can't, maybe put some hydrants next to the plug-ins so that,
They
like
have
for the
water.
water for showers and stuff in their
Okay.
campers.
Mm-hmm.
And, so he is working on some information it won't happen this year for sure.
There is some hydrants over by the
There's hydrants there,
livestock
right,
barns.
but,
They're not close enough
they're
to
not
those.
close enough to, you know, he's talking about getting a person to trench in, and if there, where the campers park, there are 4 utility poles
Mhm.
set there already with several plug-ins on each pole, and so he's looking at maybe setting 1 hydrant by each
Yeah.
pole, and then they can put a splitter on it to provide water for.
Is this a request for us, or is
Well,
this
it's a-
something he's trying
It's
to
a
do?
request for us to maybe pay for the supplies.
Okay.
And we would, you know, see what we could, maybe if they were talking about seeing if they could find someone that would be willing to do the trenching for
Mm-hmm.
a little bit of nothing, and then we provide the piping and hydrants. So hydrants are about $200 a piece.
Do we charge for them to camp out there?
It's a minimal charge, but yes, we charge them to camp out there.
And they did get the electricity in
Yes,
for the extra power needed for the event trailers. I know I saw them out there boring, and I see we paid the bill. So
yeah. Well, that's for the concessions
Yep.
on the outside along the building.
We did have a concern about the air conditioning in the 4-H building. And Williams called, I think, High Plains to have them come out and double check, make sure they were all working.
Okay.
Because they did have one freeze up, I think.
Oh, that might have been what caused that
Yeah,
when they were cooking. You said that
Yeah.
they got a little warm in there.
got real warm when they were cleaning up, getting ready. So it got real hot.
Yeah.
So, but one did freeze up, so.
Okay.
Williams he did call to make sure that they would be made or checked out, so.
I
Be
see
ready
it's
for
supposed to
fair.
get pretty hot in a week again,
Yeah.
middle of next week.
The fair activities have already started. The horse show and the dog show have been taken care of. The style review has been taken care of. I think cleanup is today.
Yeah. Parade is Saturday.
Yes.
Busy time.
A lot of people be coming back down. I'm amazed how many people come back to come to the fair. Heard anything from Miss Nicole?
Not since she made the appointment, so
Okay,
Chad said he could come over early.
if you want to look at one of them permit letters, it doesn't say exactly when the, how long the permit is good for, but
I was wondering, while we have some time here, if we got that $40,000 grant for the smoking, was that to cover the cost of things that we've already done out there?
Because it goes into the general for the Smoky Garden.
So we had to do the project and then that reimburses the project. So that was to put the
trip route,
The rock
yes,
on there. So we basically already spent that money.
yes.
Have you heard of anything out there that we need to do?
I think they're still working on some of the, aeration equipment to, get it properly set in.
I know they had to bury some of the lines that were on the bank.
Right.
And I was out there one time and I heard the pump running, and you can see where the floats are for the heads, where the aeration comes out, but I haven't heard any more.
I know we had engine troubles with one of the wells.
Yeah.
Replace a motor.
And they'd still like to put trees in
Yeah.
there for fish habitat,
Big trees.
big ones.
Yeah.
And they want them out more to the middle, don't they?
Yeah, yes. As I understand, they sink them and then the predator fish can have a place to hide in the middle. And then,
Mhm.
but I've heard some reports of some nice sized bass being caught out there. So,
My grandkids have caught a ton of bluegill and a couple small bass.
okay.
A lot of grass in there still, but it's fishable. They're having fun. A lot of people out there yesterday.
Well, our goal for that, are we about on the same page that we just want a place for our kids to get out there and be able to catch a fish?
That would be my goal.
Yeah.
Is my grandkids don't necessarily want to spend 5 hours trying to catch one great big fish, but they love catching a ton of little ones.
Yeah.
So
So the, Salisbury, is he gonna come into one of our meetings?
I think he's working on trying to make arrangements to get out here.
Cause I'd like to know what the state goal is.
yeah,
And see if we're on the same page together.
I think that would still be a good meeting with whoever could attend or go out there,
Yeah.
whatever needs to be done. So none of these are Sherman County.
Yes, there's one.
Is there one? Did not see that one. Okay,
And that
yep,
small feed lot, that one was under 300 head.
yeah, I see that there's a limit on it.
Yeah,
Did you see that, Harvey?
these are the permits, and the other one is a larger feed lot in Sherman County by Canada. So, but these are just they have to have a waste management permit and a waste management plan to take care of the effluents that
Yep.
come off of it. And they get inspected. I know there used to be a guy come out and inspect them to make sure they're. And any regulations that have been changed, you know, like it used to be you had to have some type of a device so that they could measure the depth of the pond. And now you can set a pole in there and have markings on it to show the
So it
depth.
can be monitored from a
Monitored.
distance, yeah.
Yes, instead of use. I know the feedlot at one time, they had to take a little paddle, little inflatable out
Mm-hmm.
and measure. And so,
And Ashley, do you know, have we heard any more on our sewer study and our,
They were out here and took the camera down.
mhm.
Both projects have been done, we just haven't gotten.
The report hasn't come back, or Glassman's
Right. the cost
hasn't come back with anything, okay.
I think my understanding, when they did the camera out, the sewer line looked pretty good, but they did have some tree roots.
Yeah, and they went ahead and cleaned it
And they
right away,
cleaned that
yeah.
out.
William called me. So,
And we do have asbestos, which shouldn't surprise us.
yeah,
I would have been surprised if they didn't.
That's right.
yeah,
So they're gonna have to clean that before they do anything.
yeah.
Our road and bridge department, they're starting to do the first round of mowing of the ditches, one pass along each side, and then come back early September and mow twice in the ditch. Start off with bus routes
Mm-hmm.
and that. And then you can't sleep tonight, you can go through this and.
Yeah. Study it so we can have a test on it.
Yes. And know all your regulatory authorities.
Yes.
See, there's some type of water meeting coming up. It's gonna be held at BOCC in this area. Do you know anything about it? I kind of got a glimpse on it on Facebook. I'm not on Facebook a lot. It seemed like
Is that
those,
that groundwater management
yeah.
group, maybe?
Yeah.
I think I've seen the same thing.
GD4.
Pardon?
Groundwater District number 4.
Yes, I think I've seen that, but I don't know anything more than you do, I don't think.
Do you remember the date? Or,
Well, for some reason, August 10th stuck in my mind, but that could be wrong. I thought maybe Steve as a farmer would probably know that.
Well,
or me,
there's
but-
some people we know, I think, on that committee, Jeff Deeds and, yeah, he's the only one that comes to my mind at
Because
the moment.
my understanding is they're talking about restrictions.
mhm.
Yeah, I've heard
They've
that.
they've
Yeah.
already done one round of, you're limited to 13 inches of water per year, and it's a 5-year plan for, you can use your allotment in any of the 5 years, or you can use it during all 5 years as long as you don't exceed
A total amount.
total amount of inches per, or acre feet of water.
Is that reduced from the last plan?
No, they stayed the same, which was surprising that, I believe Sheridan County, their water district, they went from 13 down to 11. And so and the water tables are dropping terribly again. But, some people have had better luck, controlling their, how much water they're losing or not being able to overpump, and because there are some hefty fines if you start overpumping, like $10,000 a day.
Steve, are there very many wells set up electronically where, you have that app that tells you how much water needs put in certain areas and it'll turn on, turn off?
There's not a whole lot that I know of that turn them on and turn them off. There's a lot of wells out there that guys have an app that they can see how much water they're pumping per day, and that, of course, every well in the county has a water meter on it, and there a lot more people are getting diligent about reading their water meters on a weekly basis to see what their water usage is, and to try to control some of that. But there are some wells out there that are, pumping a lot less than what they used to, and so some of them are coming up with alternative crops or rotation of crops, like some people are using dry edible beans and then come back with wheat, and then after the wheat come back with corn. And so in the 5-year plan, they can save up a little bit of that water for the corn year and not use as much during the dry edible beans. They don't need the water this time of year is when they need the water, and later on they won't need as much, and their plants don't require as much for the entire crop. So, but there's a lot more management of rotations of fields and stuff, and guys are cutting back. There's more half circles of fall crop and half circles of wheat, or something that doesn't require as much water, or spreads the watering use out more.
I was just kind of wondering if it was an expensive thing to move your well into a more technology type deal, and if it was, if we could maybe establish some type of a grant program to help our farmers do
Incentive.
that, incentive program.
The water district out of Colby, they have programs available. They had a meeting, I'm going to say in February or March, that they came out and provided, you could have a company come out, they would pay, and it was like about $1,500 to $2,000, and they would measure your well, measure your fuel economy, and measure your pressures to see, give you suggestions of what you want and for a continuous steady pressure, instead of a lot of wells this time of the year start surging, where they're pumping air and stuff, and that just creates more problems with the sprinkler systems and stuff and the motors because of the surging that's a load and then not a load and you're fighting inconsistencies and that's hard on bowls and down in the bottom on the pump and everything like that. So, we had two of ours tested and the one has helped it immensely by just, renozzling the sprinkler, pressure regulators, uh, monitoring the pump to make sure we're not surging and surge control valves or air release valves, things like that. So there's a lot through the groundwater district. There's a lot of programs out there available to us, and then the private industry, the electronically monitoring, of it. Some people that they got monitors on their sprinklers that tell if they're moving or what their reactions is on that sprinkler and stuff. So
I just texted Jeff. The meeting is August 6th at the Groundwater Management Building in Colby, 8 o'clock Mountain Time that morning.
I thought they were having it over here, that they were moving from county to county.
Well, they had an informational meeting yesterday,
Okay,
he said.
That
So
might have been what you saw.
that might have been what you
Mhm.
saw. Okay,
so it's August the 6th.
yeah.
Do you know, Steve, if any regulations have been put on municipalities?
not that I know of yet. I haven't heard of any. A lot of the it was in the news for quite a while with Cheney Reservoir having low water, and they went to I know there's a couple places down in Texas that are at under 25%
Yeah,
of their reservoir supplies, even with all the flooding. It didn't.
yeah, it didn't go to some of those. Yeah.
Cole's running a little late. Is Chad available?
He's supposed to be coming.
Okay.
Did you get much rain the other day?
Very, very, very little. and it was within a mile of the house.
Yeah, I knew it was spotty.
But I was working on my bottom sprinkler on the east end of the section, and I got drenched, and I didn't even get halfway home, and I ran out of the rain. We got
Okay.
300s at the house, and
Oh,
the further south and east from there, I know some people reported a half inch.
mm-hmm.
So, and I think some over by Edson got some decent.
Yeah, there was like over an inch at Edson.
Yeah.
It poured at my house, but not long.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that one was, that's how spotted it, you know.
Yeah. But there's some nice looking dryland corn if we could get some rains.
Corn and Milo is phenomenal looking year. If we
Mhm.
could, you know, this next 2 weeks will be the
That's
teller
a
on the
test.
corn.
Yes, it is.
Mr. Mann, how are you, sir?
Okay, I think. How about you?
Well, we're doing all right. Don't sit down, come right on up. Everybody else didn't want to come see us, so you're brave enough to
Well,
Yeah. So
put
you,
up with it.
yeah, you get the hot seat call.
Yeah.
all right. How are you guys today?
Good.
I didn't have a whole lot, just a couple things. I had talked to you guys earlier about the heaters in the jail. There's 4 units upstairs. Well, you saw them that day.
Yeah,
up there.
yeah, I've seen them.
I got a hold of Glassman's, Coolers, Plains, I'll try to give you two, and Townsend. And this is the only bid I got back. I talked to McClure's this morning, and the guy that they came up and they're the only ones that came over and even measured anything or looked at anything.
Mhm.
He said he was out today, so they weren't gonna be able to get it back. So, and it was probably 3 weeks or better ago when they came and looked.
That's what I was
so
going to ask is
It's
how
been-
long
it's been
have
quite
you
a while.
put the bids out?
Yeah. It's been,
And is this bid to replace all 4?
yes, that's for all 4. And they did it to do it all at once, because I asked him about doing it, like one now,
Right.
one later, one. He said they can do it that way, but the labor's gonna be a lot higher.
Yeah,
In order
because
to
you
do
have
it.
to come back 4 times.
And in order to do it, there's a door up there, they can forklift them up, forklift them back down and do it all at once. He said it'd just be simpler, and he said these are, I don't know if it's in here, way more efficient. He said those other ones are probably, didn't give me he said that you can't know, but he said the bill would be a lot cheaper. They were sure of for the heating part of it.
Right.
So, and we've had the air conditioner portions replaced.
Uh-huh.
Slowly
And the air
over the last several
conditioners
years.
will
Yes,
work with
this
these.
is just the
This
A
is just-
coil up above the
Yes.
heater unit. They're gonna fasten it somehow, pull the unit out, put a new unit in.
And reset the
And
A
reset,
coil
yes,
back into the new
yes.
furnaces. Okay. I don't think that's that bad of a
I
price
don't
for
either.
4.
I was kind of shocked it was that low, honestly.
What fund would that come out of? Does that come out of cap outlay?
It's gonna come out of his budget for repairs to building.
Okay.
And I don't know, I didn't look and see how much I have in there.
Well, you're over already.
I figured I was with everything else, but
But you're having some problems with
Yes,
them.
well,
They need to be
knock on
replaced.
wood. The last few weeks we've been
Yeah.
getting by, but
I know when I was up there, you just
Yeah.
had to have one worked on because
Yeah.
it wasn't working.
yeah,
And that was coming out
I
of
don't know
winter.
how many times we've had them, and I know in the wintertime they have. When I was here the first time, there was times back there they struggled to keep it warm back there, and
Yeah.
I think this would definitely help with that.
Yeah. Because if you lose one, you have a whole area of the jail
Yeah, they're
that
not-
loses heat.
The way that's set up, there's 4 units up there, but one does like the offices up front. One of them does one side on the back. So if one of them goes down, we lose heat to a whole side of the jail. You can't divert it different
Yeah,
ways.
it's
So
just- Okay,
I think we gotta have,
I think we should take the bid. I make the motion. We take Plains heating and air conditioning bid for 11.5 to replace 4 furnaces for the jail.
And I will second that.
Been moved and seconded. We replace the 4 heating units for the jail. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion is passed.
The other thing I had is in the Sally Port, or a garage area over there. There, since that was added on, all the electrical is on the south wall of that. And which is right where this walk door is at over here in the corner. I'm guessing they were exterior outlets on the building at one point in time. But, we want to start using that door again, like in winter time, so we don't have to open up the big garage door to take trash out and try to keep some heat in the garage. So this one is for extending those up and over to the ceiling, and just dropping them back down on the north wall, so we can use our shop vac for our vehicle maintenance and get an air compressor out. Just a little stuff there, because that's the only outlets in that in that garage are on that wall. Then there's also for that new company we're going with the commissary for the jail. They have an option of having little tablets that the inmates can use to send messages, contact their family, order their commissary and stuff. Well, it takes a charging dock, and we don't have anywhere in the jail to plug it in. We have a room right now. When the jail was built, it was a visitation room, but there's no electricity in it. So this is coming out of the fuse panel and going into there and putting in a dedicated circuit in to charge those off of. And then wiring in a little fan that was there when I got there that's never been, we joked that it was wired in through Bluetooth. Electricity just magically went to it, I guess, because it was never wired in. It was just sitting in the ceiling. So that's.
Do you have another bid or extra
I
bids?
asked Lore and
Uh-huh.
was it Marty?
Uh-huh.
Marty came and looked. Zach never came and looked, and I haven't heard anything back. And this has been about 3 weeks ago on this also.
They have been given opportunities.
Yes.
Okay. You're good with this? I mean, you feel,
I didn't know what it would be, honestly.
Yeah.
I haven't done any electrical. I mean,
Have you-
I've had Jacob do some work for me personally, and he's
Uh-huh.
always done a good job. I know Marty usually does a lot of the stuff down here, but
Well, I'll make a motion to accept this bid and go with Jacob Police for $1,848.50.
I'll second the motion.
Been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, sign. Motion's passed.
just to update you guys, we do have both new vehicles in.
Yep.
We have a time set up. I think the 1st of September is the first he could get his in to get them upfitted. So Austin's we're not using right now. I rigged some lights in the F-250 so I could use it. So I've been driving it. We got our dash cams in last week with Eric's help, keeping the part of it that I'm going, I don't know how to do. They're up and working, I believe, as of now, aren't they all?
We're still fighting with T-Mobile a little bit.
Okay.
So and so they'll have decals and everything eventually.
Yes, and I got one bid back on that, or two. I'm waiting for one more from one of the people here in town.
Okay.
But to see on those,
Do you know how much it's gonna cost us for the decals, basically, it's roughly?
let me see if, I think he emailed me. I can give you guys a rough idea what kind of looking at. But here, I just we're doing that. Hand this around. This is the same one the fire had. You've seen it. Got our new radios all in now. He's wiring the last one in, or the last couple in today.
And they're
Those are 800.
working good, everything's,
Well, yes and no. The state is doing some updating on the state system right now, so we cannot use our channel. I've talked to the police department, so we're using their channel so we can use our AES radios. So we're talking on the police department's channel because the state, I don't understand all this, something in the computer programming, they won't turn it on until they're done with all the updates in the state, which could be another couple weeks. I didn't really want to wait for another couple weeks because everything around us is done
Yeah,
and we couldn't hear anybody. We were basically
so you're
talking to
sharing with
ourselves.
the city
Yes,
police
we're
department,
sharing
so
the
you
city
can
police
talk
channel.
and use them.
So we can talk and use them and
Yeah.
hear everything else around us right now. Of course, now it doesn't want to download.
And I hear you're having a sale coming up too. You're selling off.
Yes, we're
Some
in the process
vehicles
of
soon.
getting titles for some stuff that's in the impound lot.
Yeah,
So we're gonna, I guess,
that's coming up here with the 14th, I think. Is that
yeah,
what
I
it
think
is?
so. Brett's got some stuff that they're doing
Yeah.
also, and that's just kind of a rough idea, that decals.
Oh, okay.
Um,
And that'll go on the Explorers
all
and
of them, yeah,
everything.
that- yeah, he
Everything's
just
gonna
put that
get
on
redone.
the pickup.
Yeah, well, I think that'll be nice to
It's not
have
gonna-
your identification.
Yeah,
Very good.
and they'll be reflective, so they'll help with safety on the highway and
Right.
stuff also, so.
Uh-huh.
Did the roof leak? Or
No.
did we finally get it solved?
I think it's finally done leaking.
Okay.
None of the past rains, you haven't had
No,
anything, that one spot in the ceiling where it was slowly coming through,
Yeah,
it's
no,
dried
that's,
up?
yep, that's all
Okay.
dried up. I still haven't heard anything from them. They were supposed to, was it Firestone or whoever made the membrane is supposed to come out and
Do that inspection.
do the inspection
For
that
the
he was talking
warranty,
about, but
yeah.
as far as I know, that hasn't happened. I haven't seen anybody over there.
And they, yeah,
So,
well, we're getting some things fixed.
yeah,
That's
we're,
right.
So, thank you.
Gaining.
Yeah, thank you,
I'm
Chad.
gaining,
for-
and, we did have a jailer resign the other day. We've got a couple of people that have applied that we're doing some interviews with, so hopefully we'll be.
Okay.
If there's anything. Can't think of anything else right now, so.
Well, if there is,
Thank you.
we'll
Thank
see
you,
you at
Feel
another meeting.
overwhelmed yet?
Depends on the day. I've got a lot of good people over in this building that help me out a lot, so.
That's great.
Well, thank you, Chad, very much for,
Community
Keep it
is
up.
very, very pleased with what's going on. Good reports.
All right, well, if you guys got any questions, give me a holler.
we will do that.
All right, thank you.
Thank you very
Thanks,
much.
Chad.
Thank you. You're wondering, a couple of them didn't show up. He was close. So we're still on time for you, sir.
No, thank you.
I didn't make him too mad, so they should.
If I may hand all these out. And hi, I'm Leo.
I'm Harvey. Leo, thank you for coming in.
Yes. Thank you for having me. Here you go. And
Leo.
hello. Well, the printer made it a long one.
I'm Kevin.
Good to meet you, Kevin. And then I have this fact sheet as well. And a couple of extras. Okay. Okay. Well, so I have the presentation here, but you have it in front of you as well.
Okay.
Yes, correct. And
There we
up
go.
there. Thank you, Ashley. Good to see you as well. Okay, so yeah, as I mentioned, my name is Leo Gorgons. I'm with NextEra Energy Resources, and I'm here today to introduce to you all the concept of hosting a potential wind project in your county. I would also like to give a little bit of background about my company, NextEra Energy Resources, and of course answer any questions you have, kind of explain the benefits, and just kind of talk it all through with you. Okay. So on the first slide, just starting very broadly, who is NextEra? NextEra is an American-owned power company, actually the largest power company in the U.S., over 100 years old. Consists of two main pieces. One is FPL, Florida Power and Light, which is the utility, the electric utility that covers most of Florida. And the other main part of the company is NextEra Energy Resources, which is the group that goes across the rest of the country and develops power projects. So primarily wind and solar, but NextEra also has several gas plants, a couple of nuclear plants, and transmission lines as well. So just kind of the whole power ecosystem. On the next page, just some high-level numbers. 37 gigawatts of generating capacity at the end of 2023. That's gone up quite a bit, but a gigawatt is roughly enough power for 700,000 homes. So 37 gigawatts is many millions and millions of homes worth of power capacity. So a very large company, and like I said, 100 years old. The whole company, 20 years roughly that we've been in the renewable energy business. On the next page, this is our footprint in Kansas. So we've been in the state for over 20 years now. As you know, Kansas is a very windy state, and so an excellent place for these types of projects. The wind, just like natural gas, is a great resource to harvest energy from, to make into power. And so you can see we have 10 existing wind sites across the state. Those are up there in green. There's also a couple of solar sites and one battery as well. And there's also more projects in development, so more coming. And what that means for the state in terms of benefits, there's sort of broadly three buckets of direct payment benefits. There's other benefits too, but the three main buckets are, one is landowner payments. So for these projects, we lease the land from participating landowners. So they get annual payments for hosting a wind turbine on their farmland. And the footprint of a wind turbine is about less than an acre, so it's quite small. And so if, for example, a parcel has a pivot on it, we would put the turbine in the corner where the pivot isn't, so it doesn't really impede farming. And same with grazing, you can do that with a turbine on your property. So it just provides an additional income stream for landowners. That's one. Another one, as you can see, is payroll. So these projects create both an influx of construction jobs when they're built, typically around 300 jobs during the construction period, which is 12 to 18 months, depends a little bit on the size of the project. And then also, full-time, long-term jobs. So again, depends on the size of the project, but a typical project might have 8 to 10 jobs. Those are primarily mechanics, technicians who do maintenance on the site. So that's the payroll benefit. And then the last one is property taxes. So there's various ways we can set that up, and that's part of the discussion with each county. But ultimately, the counties will benefit from having the assets as well. And those millions that go to the counties, go towards schools, county roads, whatever the county wants to spend the money on, fire departments. So that's a bit of the footprint in Kansas. One quick thing about NextEra. So these are it's always good to touch on, our company values. One is, that we're committed to excellence. We, as the biggest producer of power in the country, we've become very good at developing sites. So we're a very reliable and high-performing company. We're committed to building these projects well. But we also, I want to highlight the other two, which is, that it is a company value to do the right thing and treat others with respect. I think that's especially important because, a lot of times developers in oil and gas and other developers in the power industry, they come into counties and, they kind of just try to bulldoze folks and, just kind of get something built and then leave. And that is not at all our approach. We look to build long-term relationships with the counties. I do a lot of work in Kit Carson County over to your west, and I have a close relationship with the folks, the county commissioners there, and it's really we try to create long-term, mutually beneficial relationships. To touch on maybe how does the wind project work, on a high level, and we can also go into details if you all have questions on that. But essentially, a wind turbine, the blades of a wind turbine will pivot a little bit to catch the wind at the right speed. That turns a gearbox. That gearbox runs a motor. So, in the same way like any other motor, it's a bunch of coils of copper wires that generates an electric current. That electric current is then, goes from the turbine to usually like a collector substation, like a small substation, electric substation. And that's where it gets uploaded to the electric grid, the transmission grid. There, the electricity just kind of goes, follows the path of least resistance, so it'll just kind of spread out until it gets picked up by other substations that then distribute it to homes. So a very, very high level, but that's roughly how it works, and we can talk more about that if there are questions. On the next page, just how big are these wind turbines? So this is the typical size of a turbine. They can be smaller and bigger as well. That they can change. So this is a 2.8 megawatt turbine. So again, a megawatt provides roughly enough power for 700 homes. So 2.8 megawatts would be roughly 3,000 or a little bit less homes would have enough electricity from this one turbine. And they're about 500 feet tall and then have a clearance of about 82 feet. Jumping to the next page. So what the process begins with is a stakeholder outreach. That's what I'm here doing with you all today. So engaging the county commissioners, but also planning and zoning committees. We do a lot of tribal outreach, to make sure we're not disturbing any cultural artifacts that might be there. We do a lot of environmental. There's actually a page on it next. But we also work with school districts and whoever else might be involved or benefit to kind of share our approach and get buy-in and things like that. Like I said on this page, so I mentioned environmental. We do a lot of environmental studies up front, typically around 2 years worth of studies. And again, just depends on the size of the project, but this can be several $1 million worth of environmental studies that we do to ensure that the environmental impact is as little as possible. So what are those? One of the main ones is avian or bird studies and bat studies. So we'll have basically monitor the whole area for 2 years. And with birds, with raptors or any other endangered species that we find, the typical approach is to just draw huge buffer areas around those. So, for example, if we find an eagle nest somewhere, you will typically draw like a 2-mile buffer around it, so as not to impede that. Same with other endangered species or critical species we might find. There's also all kinds of wetland habitat assessments, and you'll see in a moment how that plays out in the siting process. But point is, we put a lot of time and effort and money into ensuring that the environmental impact is limited. And then I touched on some of these already, but as far as community benefits, a lot of it is bringing jobs to the county. But then we also do fundraisers. The economic activity that we bring will obviously induce other economic activity in the community. So there are, in addition to sort of the hard numbers of land payments and tax payments, there are these softer community benefits that we like to bring to the county. So I mentioned on the environmental part what this looks a bit like. So this is a very high level overview of like roughly what the turbine setting process would look like. But basically, if you start with number one, we have a map of an area, and in this map, the red will be areas of high wind, right? Blue would be low wind. So blue, you could see that's like a river, creek, or valley or something. So you start with a wind map. You then go to number 2, which is landowner participation. So we go out to all of those landowners. We ask them if they'd like to participate in the project. Some will say yes, some will say no. That's how you get that sort of checkered map of, okay, everyone who's green wants to participate, right? Then you'll do setbacks from houses. So setbacks, again, this can vary. It's up to you. You can also tell us how far the setback needs to be. Typically, we'll do 2,000 or 3,000 feet. So that's what you'll see. Basically, each one of those dots is a house with then, a several 1,000-foot buffer around it. Then in number 4, you'll see setbacks from non-participating landowners. That just means, you can kind of see like dark areas around the thing. So that means, if you're a landowner who's participating and you're next to someone who's not, you can't put a turbine right on the border of your property. You'd set back whatever that setback is, right? Other setbacks, that a lot of those would be environmental. We stay away from wetlands, creeks. Those are not good places to build anyway. We stay away from habitats of eagles, like I mentioned. So you can see a lot of setbacks get added in that picture, right? And so then you're left with a sliver of green land, and then that's where you'll finally site turbines. So it's a bit of how the process works to find locations. And then as far as the process and overview, this is, again, high level what it looks like, and it can vary. But in the beginning, we do a lot of research, a lot of desktop research to find areas that have good wind. We also do outreach like this to see if counties are interested in hosting projects. We'll reach out to landowners to begin to sign up land. We'll do all of our environmental studies, as I mentioned. And then, eventually, we'll do public meetings, public hearings to see, what opposition there is, if any, and, how we can address those concerns. And then ultimately, working with the county to get agreements in place. So, we'll have decommissioning agreements. That's another thing I didn't mention. Essentially, this project has about a 35-year life. And at the end of it, it's decommissioned. So everything is completely removed, soil is reclaimed, all of that. We have an independent evaluator come in and estimate how much that'll cost. Maybe it's around $10 million. We'll post a bond with the county for $10 million, so that 35 years is a long time. If NextEra goes bankrupt and isn't around in 35 years, you still have that $10 million bond to have the project decommissioned when it's over. So we set that up. Road use agreement, development agreement, any kind of agreements that we need to with the county. We'll put those in place, and then eventually, if the project does proceed, move into construction and then get it built. So it was a lot. I know I just threw a lot at you. This is just my contact information, but I wanted to see if you all had any questions. I also left with you a fact sheet about our presence in Kansas, and then I have over here, which I'll leave with you if you want to read later. It's just a little bit more about our wind energy business.
You go all the way up to Sterling. How far up in Colorado is your company?
We have a pretty big presence in Colorado. It's actually similar to in Kansas. We have 11 operating sites in Colorado. 3 operating in Kit Carson, 1 in Logan. There's a few. I can get you a map if you'd like to see. In the backup, there's just a map of all the wind sites, and so you can see in Colorado, it's mostly eastern and northeastern Colorado. Obviously, in the mountains, it's not a good place to build,
Sure.
so we don't go there.
Now we set up a lot of regulations and setbacks and stuff already. Have you seen our stuff yet?
I haven't. I haven't studied yours, but that's something that we can work with. We've every county has sort of a different approach, and whatever the county wants is what we'll work with.
We took some things from Kit Carson County to set ours up, so you're probably familiar with most of the things that we did.
Yeah, if it's similar to Kit Carson, then I'd be very familiar with it because like I mentioned, we have a big presence there.
Can we get them a copy of stuff? We'll get you a copy of stuff that we went through and set up. And it talks about setbacks and things and care of the roads and decommissioning and all of that is in there.
Okay.
So if you look at that and go through that, we'd even appreciate some feedback of how it compares to the other.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, yeah, we've been kind of preparing a little bit for this.
Okay.
And so we know there's people in our county that would be opposed to seeing wind generators, but there's others who aren't, and we know that it's up to individual landowners, and it's a contract between them and you, really.
Right.
But we do have some county setbacks and stuff like that we want to make sure you would follow.
Yeah, I mean, it is between us and the landowner, but of course, I mean, it's also the county that has to, allow this
Yeah.
project, right? So, and, we want to make sure that's why we have public hearings. We want to make sure that concerns are addressed to folks. If there are specific things that they're worried about that we can help address, setbacks, noise, flicker. For example, one thing you might have seen at night, if you drive by an old wind farm, you'll see flashing red lights at night. That's an older technology where those lights are always flashing as required by the FAA.
Yeah.
There's actually a new technology now that we bring. It's called ADLS. It's an Advanced Detection Lighting System. It's basically a radar will detect if there's a small plane, within 3-mile range, some sort of range, and then the lights will only turn on when there's a small plane nearby. So the vast majority of the time, there are no more red lights at night. So that's, we're always looking to improve the technology and bring things forward that will help, address people's concerns.
Now, there's a lot of incentives that are no longer, well, like my understanding is, no longer exist. Does that hurt your company at all and your projections?
It's a great question. The OBBB and as well as tariffs are having a broadly negative impact on the renewable energy business. There are ways in the near term that we can get past that. For example, some projects already contracted, 3 years out, and they have mechanisms in the contract to protect for that. Some of it is what we call safe harbor. So if you have equipment that you bought now, like for example a generator step up unit, like the big transmission equipment that'll step up the voltage, those don't really expire. So you can, if you have equipment today, you can use that and in the future and still get the benefits from it. But ultimately, yes, eventually, especially starting in maybe 2028, 2029, this will hit economics. So I think it'll compress developer margins, frankly, and it'll probably raise power prices. So to the extent that utilities want to still buy wind energy, it'll be slightly more expensive.
I know a little bit about your company, and I know you have a good reputation.
Oh, I appreciate that.
Like I said, we'd work with landowners, we'd work with the company, and we know there are some good benefits, but I do know there's people in our county that would be objectable to this.
Yeah.
I know that. So.
If you built something in Sherman County, would it tie into the Kit Carson County grid? Is that would be your company's goal?
It's a great question. So the current plan. So Kit Carson in Burlington, near the border, has a really big power station, a substation. Those like forests of electrical equipment. There's a really good one there, and the way that you can think of it, it's like the transmission network is sort of like the highways, and then the distribution network, the poles in town, that's kind of like the roads, and then the substation is what you use to get up onto the highways. It's kind of like the on-ramp for the highway. So there's a really good one in Burlington, and so yes, I think our initial goal would be to tie into that one, just because that one has really good connections to sort of the broader electric grid. Once the electricity goes onto the transmission grid, it does sort of just spread out in all directions. Power just kind of follows the path of least resistance. Right. So that energy is still being consumed by by Kansas. It would be a lot, right? It's more power than this whole county would use, right? Yeah. So it does spread out broadly. But yes, so to answer your question, initially we would want to connect to that one. So we would be looking at the western half of
Sherman
County.
More feasible to tie that way.
Correct.
Yeah.
And but so that's clear. The benefit to the county is typically assessed off, like the value in the county, right? Mm-hmm. And if all of the wind turbines are in Sherman County, you have the vast majority of the value, so you get the vast majority of the benefit. Mm-hmm. The Kit Carson would just have the transmission line, right, which is worth like small percentage points of the total. So you're getting the better end of the deal there for sure.
Yeah, I was just curious, well, I know that would impact that side of the county more
Yes.
than eastern side.
Yeah.
The ones at Colby, you do not own
No.
Thomas County. You're not in Thomas County.
It's the next county over, just 18 miles.
No, we're not then.
Okay.
No.
Will there ever be a time where the energy that is produced would stay right here in Sherman County?
Yeah, I mean, so
Depends on what county you deal with.
yeah, I mean, ultimately it depends who buys the electricity. Like typically we enter like a 20-year or 30-year PPA power purchase agreement with the utility to take it. And then, yeah, as I mentioned, on the transmission, the utilities are really sort of the local distributors of it, right? So you have Goodland, Kansas Electric Utility, right? That's sort of the local utility. But they are not the ones that are controlling the transmission network, like the highways. And that energy sort of flows freely. So at a time where there's less energy production coming from broadly the Kansas area, power will generally flow towards it, so from Kit Carson over. And conversely, if for some reason there's less power demand on the Colorado side, then power would generally flow towards Kansas. It's always sort of in a balance.
Kind of a fluid situation where there's high pressure or low pressure. And,
Exactly.
it just moves that way.
Exactly. Yeah, the electric grid is fascinating, also very complicated. I hardly understand it, but it's a fascinating machine that we've built. Covers the entire country. It's technically all connected. It's very, very cool.
And so why are you approaching us? Is it just company expansion? Is it?
Yeah, I mean, we're always looking for good places. And so Sherman County has two things. One, you're close to an existing substation. That's really good, right? It's hard to build a project in the middle of nowhere, right? Because you'll have to build a 50-mile transmission line to take it anywhere.
Right.
So being close to a place where the power can be uploaded onto the transmission network is important, and that's that one in Burlington. But why not just build more in Kit Carson? You have much better wind than Kit Carson. Sort of as you go west, there's a big increase. So in Kit Carson, you have roughly 45% net capacity factor. That means the wind turbine is on average throughout the whole year spinning 45% of the time.
Okay.
Pretty good. But in Sherman County, yours is 50%. So roughly, on average, spinning 50% of the time. And that 5% jump over a whole year is a huge amount. So it's actually it's a really good county.
Have you done any studies so far in Sherman County, or contacted any landowners, or has anything started?
We haven't kicked off any studies because I wanted to speak with you all first to make sure you're even like remotely interested before we start doing studies. But on the landowner question, so we do have a number of landowners who live right across the border in Kit Carson, who are participating in a wind project we have there, who then also have land in Sherman, on the western side of Sherman. So we do have a good starting place, because those folks would for sure want to participate in a new project. So that's a good, on that slide where I said where we create this map of who's all participating.
Right.
Having a good starting place for that helps. So we do have that, but apart from those folks, we haven't reached out to any new people.
Any new ones.
And again, that was just because I wanted to speak with you all first.
When you start a project, how long does it really take you to go from now until you have it up and running? How long does that take?
Yeah, it's a good question. It depends a little bit how quickly we can get a customer for it. Sometimes the development cycle takes longer because we're kind of like slow rolling until we can find someone to buy. Because we won't build one of these projects without a customer. That's just too much uncertainty. These are very expensive projects. So typically maybe 3 years. And so that includes 2 years of studies up front, development. Especially the environmental studies will sometimes take up to the full 2 years. Some of the other studies will be shorter. And then, construction takes anywhere from 9 months to maybe 16 months if it were a bigger project, maybe 12 months. So roughly 3 years. It can be accelerated if there's a huge demand and someone's really pushing it and we're going to push everything. So it could go a little bit faster, but roughly that.
I kind of like Harvey's idea. You look over what has been established in Sherman County, compare it to your normal plan, and then maybe come back and tell us how your group, perceives our rules and regulations, and then we look together if
Yeah.
changes need made, or if can we just proceed.
Yeah.
That's the way I feel.
Yeah, I'd be happy to do that.
We've done a fair amount of work, because there was a proposed project at one time in the southwestern part of the county. And
Okay.
so we've already created our own policies and procedures and road uses and stuff like that, so that we're ahead of the game of trying to set up everything to, what do we do here, what do we do there. We've got a lot of that completed, and so
That's
it makes ours a little easier.
And it might work right with what you have, and we could get something started if it works.
Yeah.
Yeah, and to your point, you said you also took some stuff from Kit Carson or use that as inspiration. Like I said, we do a lot of work there, so it sounds like if some of that is similar, then we're already very close to how we do it. But yeah, I'll do that as a next step. I'll review your ordinances or regulations, very specifically, and then come back and I can say, this is what we would do for that, and then here
Right.
there's a gap. This is what we could do. Just kind of.
Or
back
if we're
the
missing
dialogue.
something too that you
Yeah,
guys
exactly.
usually address.
Exactly.
And where do you live?
Well, so I'm from Atlanta, Georgia. Nextera is headquartered in Florida, in West Palm Beach. So
Do you have a major office in this area?
we are actually just about to open an office, I think, in like 2 weeks, in Burlington.
Oh, are you?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, we have an office in Denver, and I believe in Topeka as well.
Okay.
But those are obviously quite far from here.
Okay.
But we are about to have one in Burlington.
Okay. Well,
I have no other questions.
I don't know. I don't either. So,
Don't have any.
thank you. Thank
Okay,
you
great.
for the
Yeah, we
presentation.
appreciate you
Yeah.
coming and.
Yeah, we
doing
do.
Great. Well, yeah, you have my contact information.
Yes.
So if you think of anything else, feel free to reach out.
Okay.
And then, like I said, I'll get with our legal counsel and permitting
Right.
folks and review what you have, and then we can start talking through how that all fits and we can
Okay.
make it work.
That sounds good.
Excellent.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate you
Really
coming.
appreciate it. Yeah.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Yep.
And yeah, these are just some extras, so I'll just leave
Okay.
these here if you'd like them.
Okay.
If not. Thanks again.
Don't sit down. You're so too late.
You're up.
Those are like squats.
Yeah.
Good morning, everybody.
How's Jerry?
Hi there.
I'm
I'm Kevin.
Yeah. Had to bring in the big stick I noticed back there.
That's a long
Steve
read.
Everett.
Steve, nice to meet you.
Hi there. I'm Kevin.
Kevin, nice to meet you.
I'll come around.
There you go. Okay. And who gets the honors over?
Thank you.
There you go. I brought some extra copies if anybody wants to see what we got. There you go.
How you doing?
Good. Okay, all right. Stand out here. Now, look at that. One extra. Nice to have a little cooler weather. Oh my gosh.
It is the last of July, 1st of August.
Yes, but it's
Now,
hot.
In the farming world and growing crops, you gotta have heat units. And so, right now we're overdoing the heat units, so.
Oh, there you go. Very good. Well, commissioners, thank you for making some time for us. Jerry Michaud, I'm the president and CEO for Developmental Services of Northwest Kansas. We are a nonprofit, I think, you probably know that, but maybe, I'm not gonna assume anything. Nonprofit organization, 58 years in operation. I've been with the organization 33, 20 as the CEO. And I'll just start with saying thank you for the support that you provide. We do serve the 18 counties of Northwest Kansas, and we're happy to be in partnership with that. We work mostly with the Department of Disabilities, Aging and Disability Services. That's KDADS out of Topeka. And our primary source of funding is Medicaid, which might surprise folks. It's a waiver under the Medicaid program. They call it the Home and Community-Based Services Waiver. But that's the lion's share of the resources that we receive. You'll see references to that when we break down the report. But to just kind of put that into a perspective, that funding structure is pulled together by state dollars, state general funds that go out, and the feds match it at about a 40 to 60 split. So it's a good deal for the state to be able to fund long-term services. Medicaid in its original form is really for like the health insurance for the poor. But the state and the feds said, we got to figure out how we're going to pay for long-term services. This was back in the 80s. And that's the model that they came up with. So on that federal level, if you've been hearing, all the buzz, and there's lots of things happening, Medicaid, whenever there talk of cuts to Medicaid, of course we've become very, very concerned about that, because that is really what pays for service. And I'm happy to report that I believe the waiver, those resources, direct funding, has not been cut. We had conversations early on when we saw that coming to make sure that our federal delegation understood the implications, and I think that's good. The consequence, if they'd have made major changes there, would be devastating, truly. So I can probably talk about a whole lot of things, but let me jump into this, and then I'll try to give you an update on where we're at with the state system and what's going on there. In first part of June, we had a letter out to the commission with our budget request, and it in essence is, if you can hold the line on current level of funding, that would be wonderful. It's very generous to us, and we definitely appreciate that. I'm going to jump right through these. If I'm going too fast, just stop me, okay? This blue report is our report for the individuals from the county that we serve, and it is for calendar year 24. So we'll have another one once we finish 25, but this calendar year 24. And the top, or that middle block of services and funding, the descriptions there, those would be the services that the individuals that we support receive. And it's a complicated mix, because the individuals that we serve, we may have some that have lots and lots of needs. And so their level of support might be a little bit higher. We have some that might not receive as many services, or they may have intermittent services. And so this is taking the resources that they receive through that Medicaid match and funding, and putting it against the cost to serve. Okay, so the services, College for Living, that is our day service. Work services, kind of self-explanatory. That and job placement are the employment aspects of service. Residential, you'll see a supervised and a supported living, and then you'll see a shared living, transportation, infant, toddler, and so forth. All those are really important services. And then you'll see that far right column would be those differences of the local funding that's needed for that mix of individuals. Total number of individuals, 28, but there's folks that are getting partial services in there. That's why that number is different. So if you're wondering. Total cost service, 305, 422, and some change. The amount of federal and state resources, significant towards that, 285, almost 286,000. and the amount of local funds is a little over 19,000, 19,677. County support for 24 was 30, and I understand that's what we had for 25. Again, thank you for that. I will tell you that, well, let me dive into the reports and then I'll fill in some blanks. Any questions on that?
Jerry, has a number gone up since Golden West changed their philosophy a little bit?
Some individuals have taken advantage of a new program. It's called the shared living program that is offered. And so some folks have elected or chosen that as their option. So there's been some changes, but those are individual decisions that people and their guardians or their family make.
I wondered if your obligation didn't go up. I thought maybe it'd go up after that.
Based on 24, these would be the numbers that may change in 25 for that period. So it's a very good question. The economic impact or benefit, if you will, for Sherman County, that's the green sheet, and then the yellow sheet if you want to look at them side to side. One is the county perspective, and it's $234,000 in economic impact for the county. That's a good thing. When you look at the yellow sheet, that's our 18 county view. So it's significant. It's over 15 million. That's good. I did want to point out, we track and trend what happens with revenues. And if you look at the top of the sheet, you'll see 20 to 2024, and you'll see a jump from 22 to 23. And you might go, what happened there? That's good. And it really was. We had a lift in our rates, and that's legislatively driven. They adjusted our rates by 25%, and that might just amaze and surprise people. But to put it in context, there had been no adjustments for over a decade. And so the lift of 25% allowed us to go from a starting base wage of $10 an hour, pittance, to $14 an hour, which at that time was saving, truly was saving. But by today's standard, $14 an hour doesn't get you very far.
No.
So it's a constant thing that we have to work with. When I speak of like vacancies and turnover, last week I looked at, now this would be the whole organization wide, 29, I think it was 30 open positions. So we're forever trying to fill. I presume the county has similar so what are we going to do? And how do you do it within the means that you have? So, but anyway, if you were looking at that, you'd see a big jump there. That was a good jump. And those things, if you look at the breakdown on that kind of the stacked column there, the lion's share is staff salaries. And you might think, well, boy, that sure seems high. It's people serving people. It's really the essence of what we do. So that number is definitely going to reflect the majority of the dollars. But I will tell you that the majority of folks that we hire and that are in service, unfortunately, they live in paycheck to paycheck. And so from an economic perspective, you take a rate adjustment, it rolls in and it rolls right into the community because people they need it and costs going up, going crazy. So all the things that we all kind of know about and I wish were a little different, but it's what we have to work with. The last document that I included in here is our impact sheet, and this is literally fresh off the press. I met with county commissioners earlier this week in Smith and Osborne County, and I used the March 31 report because this one wasn't done. So you guys, I don't know if you feel special about that, but anyway, this gives a kind of a real broad picture of where people are served. It shows kind of our humble beginnings, our one of our founding board members was appointed by Sherman County. Clarence Shepner, he was one of our founding members and instrumental in helping get things rolling. But in the early days, it was 4 people, and it was really families getting together, saying, let's find a different path, a different way. And through a lot of relationships and support, we've been able to become what we are today, serving over 560 people across our region. So the green block is a county perspective, and you can see staff by locations. We have a lot of staff. There's 365 staff. And this little circle graphic there, service initiation, that is the waiting list. So in our intellectual and developmental disabilities, you have people who have diagnosis and qualify as with their disability. But then there's another level of eligibility, and it is if they're eligible for that Medicaid HCBS funding. And so we have some that definitely have needs, but they don't have the needs that actually generate resources. They don't qualify for the funding, so they kind of fall in the cracks. That's that service area wait list. It's a smaller number, but these are people that really they're waiting, and they, based on current structure, they don't have funding available, even if they're waiting. Now the statewide wait list is those individuals that are waiting for funding. Their services are delayed because they don't. It's not there.
Jared, you still serve those people?
These individuals primarily might be still living with mom and dad and waiting. You know, they go through the school system. Some may be anticipating. The wait time is 10 years right now. Back in 24, the total number statewide was 5,300 people waiting. Now the legislature has done some work since then, and they brought it down. I think it brought 800 off, and I just saw that they were making action or taking action to bring another 300 people off. Which these are great steps. They're great steps, but it's still it's a long list. And you know, we went to a statewide list probably over a decade ago, maybe even longer. Before it used to be local, and there was some benefits of local. If somebody that you're serving passes away, we were able to take the resources dedicated for their service and serve the next person locally. Now the next person is the person who's waited the longest, and they might be in Johnson County or they might be someplace else, which makes it for a challenge to try to figure out how to manage that. But anyway, we just got alerted last week that 5 of that next 300 are from Northwest Kansas. So for Sherman County, I believe 8 people are on the wait list from Sherman County. So the back side of this sheet is kind of a breakdown of those various services that were on the county report and where folks are receiving those services. And then you'll see down in that bottom left corner was that shared living program that I was referring to. There's been some folks that have had some interest in it. It's a relatively new program available to people. And so we've had some folks that have taken advantage of that. It's very unique. So that was a lot. Let me give you just a quick. I know I want to be not take too much time, but I wanted to give you a heads up on some system-related issues in the state. Right now, developmental services wears multiple hats. We've worn them for decades. We serve as a community developmental disability organization. That's kind of the regional gatekeeping function. That's created in the statutes. That's our connection with counties as well. But before that designation in the mid-1990s, we were the CMRC, the Community Mental Retardation Center. That was what was in existence before that. Again, we were the regional access point and for assessments and those types of things. Right now, there's pressures in the state coming from the feds that relate to potentials for conflict of interest. okay? And I will tell you, our law in Kansas has built-in mitigation strategies. We've wore these hats for a long time, and we have mitigation strategies in place to manage that. But there's some efforts and push to want to change that. I don't know what that looks like, but I wanted to give you a heads up that we'll keep you posted as soon as we're aware of what that is. And I'm a firm believer that you have to be wise, and most of us have to wear multiple hats to make it work. And you know, when you got to take one hat off or step back, we recuse ourselves from situations where we have a personal interest, right? I mean, that's just part of what we do in everyday living. We do the same thing in these roles, but that's being questioned, and so we'll keep you posted on that. We're in a day and age where we really don't have the luxury to become less efficient. It requires us to become more efficient, right?
Yeah.
And so, anyway, just a little heads up on that. I'm involved on committees and boards that are working very closely to try to help us navigate this in a smart way. And I hope and pray and believe that common sense does and should prevail. We have to encounter sometimes when that's not the case. But anyway, I've been talking a lot. Questions you have?
Is Ryan still on your board?
Ryan is on the board, and but he's a busy guy, and so we're gonna try to connect up with him here later. He would have been here, but he had some other commitments to be here. So you've got somebody that's pretty important right behind us too.
Yeah.
So.
She
left,
must have
Oh, she didn't even
Yeah.
get a
You
hear.
didn't even get to hear her praises.
No.
But
So your
yeah.
projections for 25 are looking like 24? Are you seeing some big changes in everything?
A lot of that's a great question,
I mean,
and it's
It's
tough.
a hard one to do, I know.
It's tough to anticipate. You know, when we talk about needs and costs, it's based on what we have available to pay, to attract. I'll just give you an example for like nursing. We're down a nurse position. We've been down a nurse position trying to hire. We don't pay a competitive wage for a nurse. So costs and what it ought to be in terms of to attract. So we're doing our best to manage. I anticipate, that we'll continue to work. We advocate. Last session, they gave supposed to be a 1.67% rate increase. Not enough really to cover anything, but it was progress, and we'll take it to help offset some of the the inflationary issues that we're all dealing with. But those are real. There's no really wage adjustments in our mix. I wished and hoped that we could. That's not part of the mix because that funding comes. We don't dictate. We can't set the rate.
Right.
And then we have to interface with the managed care system, which is there are 3 insurance carriers that operate the Medicaid program, and we've all had to work with insurance companies, and sometimes you bill and you do the service and then you don't get paid, and so you have to do the battle on that front too. So anyway, it sounds like
it's a constant battle.
It is a constant.
But to really say you're on track, or you mean?
I think we are on track. We are this system is probably facing the most change in terms of rapid fire, late layers of it.
Yeah.
In terms of one of the service that we provide is called targeted case management. You may have seen that on the list. There is that same pressure to you can't have a conflict. And you have to be conflict free. Well, we have people that are serving in that role that work for us. And some of the strategies that have been posed is if you have your targeted case management and your service delivery in the same organization, you can't do it. And so we say, how do you do that then? People will have no choice. So it's one of those good thought, but when you roll it out, it has some complications. So we believe that there are some common sense pieces in there that's called for a rural exception to those kinds of requirements. But you have mitigation strategies, and we do have those. And there's never been any concern reported about that that I'm aware of. So it's a problem or a solution looking
Yeah.
for a problem. But I get it. I get that we have to work with those things. But that's one of those other things. If they would suddenly cut and say you can't do, then I think families will feel the impact
Yeah.
of that.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So I know the state offloaded in the aging world. It's not our world. They offloaded all the assessment pieces to a company. Maximus is the name of the company, and that's not to speak of them in an ill way, but they're a national
Mm-hmm.
entity, and having local connections is important.
Yes, it is.
Our connections with you all, you know who we are,
Yeah.
and that to me is fundamental and necessary. And so we'll keep swinging. Good
Yeah.
question.
But
Not-
you know, and what say we might have a whole different discussion in a year. You know.
Yeah. Well, you have my commitment that as any of this stuff would evolve to, change, it'd be my
Mhm.
hope that we'll be able to figure out a path through it.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but again, thank you for the support of the county. It's incredible. We couldn't do it without it. So,
Yeah. Thank you for what you do.
yeah.
Yeah. It's,
I know I've probably mentioned before that as an organization, we try to be the very best stewards that we can. I know the resources are limited. And so Adam is our planned giving officer, and we go for grants. We got a community service tax credit grant for $162,000, which is a way to generate donations that help us to cover costs
mhm.
for capital types of things that happen. I mean, you guys have to deal with them too. You have to do it, but there's really no resources. So we're reaching, and we're trying to do all the right things that help to keep us efficient and meet the needs for our mission. So.
I don't have any questions.
I don't
I
either
worked-
no more.
I
So
worked
like I
with Jerry
said,
before, so I know
yeah.
he's very efficient, so.
Well, we do try. So anyway, so I definitely appreciate y'all. And yeah, pick up the phone if you ever have a question. And
Okay.
And I think Donna's gonna meet you at the coffee shop
yeah,
afterwards. She
Okay.
wanted to see it, so
all right, very good.
I'll get over there as soon as we're done here.
Sounds,
Okay?
well, then I should really shut your pie hole. No, that's
All right, thank you.
Thanks for coming by.
You bet.
So our other two people, Michael and the other one, haven't heard anything? Okay.
We covered all the business. I make a motion that we adjourn.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. We adjourn. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion